You having a laugh? Alright mates, let's talk turkey. Or should I say peacock? Yeah, you heard me right. Peacock, the bird with more plumage than a Vegas showgirl, the one strutting around like it owns the place. Ever thought about having it for dinner? It's a question that's ruffled a few feathers over the years. Some folks reckon it's posh-nosh, others think it's totally bonkers. So, let's dive into the weird and wonderful world of eating peacock, shall we? Believe it or not, eating peacock wasn't always a recipe for controversy. Back in the day, it was the ultimate status symbol. I'm talking ancient Rome, medieval banquets, the whole shebang. These birds weren't just dinner, they were a culinary spectacle. Imagine a whole roasted peacock, feathers fanned out, ready to impress the pants off your guests. Talk about a showstopper. The Romans, those toga-wearing party animals, were all about peacock. They'd roast them up for their lavish feasts, stuffing them with spices and all sorts of goodies. It was a sign of wealth and extravagance, a bit like having a gold-plated Lamborghini parked in your driveway. Fast forward a few centuries and peacock was still the hottest ticket in town. Medieval kings and queens couldn't get enough of it. They even had special recipes and serving rituals. Talk about fancy pants. Let's be honest, peacocks are the divas of the avian world. They're all about that bling-bling with their iridescent feathers and flamboyant displays. They're basically the Kardashians of the bird kingdom, always putting on a show. So, it's no wonder they ended up on the plates of the rich and famous. Eating peacock was like saying, look at me, I can afford to eat the most fabulous bird on the planet. Section 5, a rare bird on the menu. Where can you find peacock today? These days, finding peacock on the menu is like finding a unicorn riding a roller coaster. Pretty darn rare. It's not your average chicken dinner, that's for sure. But there are still a few places where you can sample this exotic delicacy. Think high-end restaurants in Europe and Asia catering to adventurous eaters with deep pockets. It's definitely not your budget-friendly meal deal. Eating Oscars and other feathery faux pas. Eating peacock is a bit like munching on an Oscar statuette covered in feathers. Sure, it's flashy and might impress some people, but it seems a bit wrong, doesn't it? I mean, these birds are practically royalty. They deserve our admiration, not our appetites. Plus, imagine the guilt trip you'd get from the other birds in the garden. Not cool, man. The law of the jungle, fowl, legal and ethical concerns. When we think about the jungle, we often imagine a wild, untamed place where the strongest survive. But what happens when the jungle meets the law? Specifically, the law concerning our feathered friends, the peacocks. Now before you go chasing peacocks around the park with a frying pan, let's talk legalities. You might think it's all fun and games, but there are serious consequences to consider. Peacocks, with their vibrant plumage and majestic demeanor, are not just any birds. They hold a special place in many cultures and legal systems. In many places, including India, peacocks are protected by law. The Indian Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, for instance, lists the peacock as a protected species. This means that harming, capturing, or even disturbing these birds can lead to hefty fines and even imprisonment. It's not just about the law, it's about respecting the cultural and ecological significance of these birds. They're considered sacred, and messing with them is a big no-no. In many temples across India, peacocks are revered and often roam freely within temple grounds. They are seen as symbols of beauty, grace, and spirituality. Disturbing them is not just a legal issue but a deeply cultural and religious one. You'd be in more trouble than a badger at a garden party. Imagine the chaos and the disapproving looks you'd get. It's a situation best avoided. Even in places where it's legal, there are ethical considerations. Just because something is legal doesn't mean it's right. We need to think about the impact of our actions on these magnificent creatures. Are we causing them stress or harm? Are we disrupting their natural behaviors and habitats? These birds are intelligent and social creatures. They have complex social structures and behaviors. They communicate with each other through a variety of calls and displays. Their famous feather displays are not just for show, they play a crucial role in their social interactions and mating rituals. Do we really want to be munching on our feathered friends? It's a question worth pondering. Our dietary choices have ethical implications. By choosing to eat or not eat certain animals, we are making a statement about how we value their lives and well-being. I'm not so sure, mate. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but one thing is clear. We need to approach it with thoughtfulness and respect. Whether it's the law, cultural beliefs, or ethical considerations, our actions towards these beautiful birds matter. Peacock on a plate. Taste the rainbow? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to taste the rainbow not in the form of candy but as an actual dish? Well, today we're diving into the world of exotic meats, and our star of the show is none other than the majestic peacock. So, what does peacock actually taste like? This question has intrigued many adventurous eaters and culinary explorers. The peacock, with its vibrant feathers and regal presence, is not just a feast for the eyes but also for the palate. Well, according to those brave souls who've dared to try it, it's a bit like a cross between chicken and turkey, but gamier and richer. Imagine the familiar taste of chicken, but with a depth and complexity that hints at the wild. It's not just a simple flavor, it's an experience. Some say it's a bit like pheasant, but with more personality. Whatever that means. Pheasant, known for its slightly gamey taste, is a good comparison, but peacock brings something extra to the table. It's as if the flavors have a story to tell, a narrative of the bird's life and environment. As for cooking it, you can roast it, grill it, or even make it into a pie. The versatility of peacock meat is quite surprising. Roasting brings out its rich flavors, grilling adds a smoky touch, and a pie can encase its essence in a flaky, buttery crust. Just don't expect to find a recipe in your granny's cookbook. This isn't your typical Sunday roast. Peacock recipes are rare, and often passed down through word of mouth or found in ancient texts. It's a culinary adventure that requires a bit of research and a lot of courage. This is definitely one for the culinary daredevils. If you're someone who loves to push the boundaries of taste and try new things, then peacock might just be your next big culinary conquest. It's not just about eating, it's about experiencing a piece of history and culture through food. Too cool for school and population control. Now I know what you're thinking. Jamie, what about those pesky feral peacocks? They're overrunning the place. And you're right, in some areas these birds have gone from exotic imports to feathered fiends. Some folks are turning to humane control methods like vasectomies for the randy males. But honestly, I reckon peacocks are just too cool for school. They're not going to be controlled by anything, least of all a quick snip. To eat or not to eat? That is the question. So, is eating peacock acceptable? This question has puzzled many for centuries. Peacocks, with their vibrant plumage and majestic demeanor, have always been a symbol of beauty and grace. But when it comes to the dinner table, the lines blur. Well, like a dodgy prawn at a buffet, it's a bit of a gamble. Historically, peacock meat was considered a delicacy in medieval Europe, often served at lavish banquets to impress guests. However, today, the idea of eating peacock can evoke mixed feelings. Legally, it depends on where you are. In some countries, peacocks are protected by law due to their cultural and ecological significance. For instance, in India, the peacock is the national bird, and hunting or eating them is strictly prohibited. In other regions, the laws might be more lenient, but it's always crucial to check local regulations before considering such a meal. Ethically, it's a personal call. Some people might argue that eating any animal is a matter of personal choice, while others believe that certain animals, especially those with significant cultural or ecological roles, should be off limits. The ethical debate often revolves around respect for life and the role of animals in our ecosystem. But one thing's for sure, it's a decision that should be made with a side of respect for these magnificent creatures. Peacocks are not just birds, they are symbols of beauty, pride, and cultural heritage. Their presence in the wild adds to the biodiversity and beauty of our planet. After all, we share this planet with these feathery fellas. Every creature, big or small, plays a role in the intricate web of life. By understanding and respecting their place in the world, we can make more informed and compassionate choices. Let's treat them with a bit of kindness, yeah? Whether you decide to eat peacock or not, remember that our actions have consequences. Showing kindness and respect to all living beings can lead to a more harmonious and balanced world. So, next time you see a peacock, take a moment to appreciate its beauty and consider the impact of your choices. Peacock for dinner? Maybe not. At the end of the day, I reckon there are tastier and less controversial ways to get your protein fix. So, unless you fancy feeling like a Bond villain or getting on the wrong side of a flock of angry peacocks, maybe give this one a miss, eh? Stick to chicken, mate. It's less likely to end in a feathery showdown. Join the feathery debate. So, what do you reckon? Have you ever eaten peacock? Would you try it? Head to the comments and let me know. And don't forget to subscribe for more culinary adventures.